pre-juror discussion was Katherine Jackson's attorney had tried to get Frank DeLeo's estate to hand over Frank DeLeo's computer, but it went missing. Frank DeLeo's lawyer has the emails from Frank DeLeo and AEG, and he will turn over his computer once he's subpoenaed. On the AEG side, they were moving to depose Michael Bush as a witness and possibly Kathy Hilton. Today's witness was Dr. Daniel Wogelentner. Katherine Jackson's attorney was Michael Kustoff, and AEG's attorney was Catherine Kamen. We saw Dr. Murray's CV, which is a resume, and Dr. Wogelentner looked at it and said that, it definitely looked good and that their training was similar, but he stated that physicians weren't qualified to administer propofol. They weren't trained to treat serious sleep disorders nor drug addiction therapy unless they received that specific training in those areas. And Murray was not. AEG should have checked on Murray. It didn't seem that there was any background check done on him. The lawyers went back and forth. Murray as a cardiologist wasn't an appropriate choice because Michael Jackson didn't have any heart problems or high cholesterol. He was also an internist, and Kamen's point was, couldn't he be used as an internist? Should AEG have known about Michael Jackson's drug use? Yeah. Paul Gonguera gave a deposition where he was involved in the Dangerous tour, which ended in 1993 with MJ going into a rehab for painkillers. Gonguera also had a relationship with Dr. Finkelstein, who was the physician for that tour, and stated that Michael Jackson had a high tolerance to medication, and he thought that Michael Jackson had an opiate dependency back then. We saw an email from Paul Gonguera to Michael Amir Williams where it was referencing Murray being hired by AEG, and it stated done at $150,000 a month. He needs 10 days to wind down his practice, then he will be full-time. Wogelentner stated that this was a red flag because Murray would be entirely dependent on AEG for his income. We saw another email to Murray from AEG's accountant, Tim Woolley, and it CC'd Paul Gonguera, and there was a blind copy to Bridget Siegel referring to probable need for a home base and venue base ECPR machine, which is an extracorporeal CPR machine. Wogelentner said that had to be a mistake because that's a heart-lung bypass machine used in open heart surgery to oxygenate the blood. There was a lot of talk regarding the independent contractor agreement and how if the tour is canceled or postponed, Murray could be terminated. The agreement was between AEG, Dr. Murray, and his company GCA Holdings. The term of the agreement was from May 1st, 2009 until the last performance. Equipment to be provided was pulmonary resuscitation, CPR machine, needles, and a qualified assistant medical person. This was all imperative to keep MJ in shape for the tour. The CPR machine was probably an error. They probably meant a defibrillator. CPR machines cost about $15,000. Defibrillators usually cost about $3,000. It was also in the contract that Murray needed to be licensed to practice medicine in the UK, which he wasn't. The main debate of the day was who actually was Murray employed by according to the contract, because the contract read kind of both ways, that either the artist or the producer could fire Murray, and he would be hired by the producer on the request and at the expense of the artist. Without the artist's approval, neither party, either Murray or AEG, had a deal. So really, who is the employer of Dr. Murray. We saw an email from Randy Phillips to Dr. Tomei dated December 2008. Doc, have you read these stories? And one of the stories was a reporter or journalist who wrote, "The ranch has been sold, the monkey moved out, and MJ is stuck in a wheelchair. Is there any truth to a comeback tour?" That's what happened when I was there.